Hello again and welcome to Train Sim Heroes. You might remember the last journey we completed. We finished at Camden Road. Well, we're continuing that journey now as we're going to finish the rest of this Mildmay line off. I believe a train will shortly be coming in on this platform and we will hop onto it and we will continue our journey down to Stratford. But we're going to take this class 374 all the way to Stratford. We're going to finish the journey off as so many people said I really should complete it. So I'm going to relieve this guy of his duties. He's going for a break. See you later, mate. And we're going to take this 2L17 to Stratford as we just said. So we're going to continue the route. Close the door, make sure the key's in. Here we go, and we're ready to go. So we're at Camden Road, as you can see, and I remember I've actually been to this actual station, and it's kind of modelled on the station. It's slightly different, I would say, but you know, that aside, you will get this on Train Sim World. It's not going to be split perfect, but it's quite good. Now I do know that there is a route hop marker just behind us here on the station, and if you're familiar with route hopping, it means you can go to somewhere else on the map. Such as another route. In this case it would be St Pancras, which is the southeastern high speed. Now there is a little thing that you can do. This little bit of track here, if you follow that all the way down and follow it round this junction, you will actually end up on the actual main line that comes out of King's Cross St Pancras. It is modelled into the game. It does exist. And I'm just, you know what, I think I'm going to quickly show you it, because when you come round here, I don't know if it's going to allow me to do it. Let's see if it allows me. Yeah, it's kind of allowing me. Yeah, here we go. So you come round on this bend here, and there you go, look. There's an Azuma going in straight through here into this tunnel, which is blocked. But this one, I believe, next door is not. I don't know how far we get. I think that's as far as we can get. But you can actually see King's Cross St Pancras. It does exist somewhere over the rainbow. It is somewhere over there, I can promise you that. So it does exist in the game. Okay, but you've got to get there first. And there is a tricky little way that you can actually get through it. But it is modelled. For some reason, it is modelled. And you might even be able to see it as you go through on some of the route. You might actually see it in the distance. We'll keep an eye out for it if we do see it, but it's a bit, it's obviously modelled in for a reason. And you have got this bit here, which is a part of St Pancras, which you can actually get on the southeastern high speed. So that's actually modelled into the game. So I think King's Cross will actually be, probably at the moment, I think it will be to our right of us. It's somewhere over there, but I don't know if you can actually see it from here. We'll have a little look as we get coming to Caledonian Road. We might be able to get a better view of it. I'm not sure. I think we're probably a little bit further away from it now, but it's somewhere over there. We'll do a little bit of investigation. But here we are at our first stop as we conclude this Caledonian Road and Barnsbury platform. Now I've actually got on at this platform before, believe it or not, when I actually went to Camden. Believe it or not, I got a bit waylaid and I was trying to get back to King's Cross and Pancras. Believe it or not, I didn't realise how close it really was. So it's somewhere over here, I believe. So you can see the BT Tower in the background, which you can obviously see in the Euston route that we've already completed and shown you around. I'm wondering whether we can actually see it. I don't know whether we will. I would have think it's there's St Pancras Tunnel. So it's somewhere, there's the main line, so it'll be over here actually, it'll be to our left. I don't know if we can see it. I think just over there somewhere. But it is in the game, I can promise you that. Give it a go. It'll be fun. You can actually get through it. It does actually kind of work. But that's enough of this. Let's get on with the Mildmay route. We are digressing from the main route, and here we are on this this wonderful overground route. Now, when it first came out, this route got a lot of stick. It was a one-man job, there was a lot of problems. But do you know what? I actually didn't buy it when it first came out. I actually bought this in a sale, believe it or not. I waited for it to go in the sale, and I'm quite glad I did in a way, because whilst it is a fairly alright route, it does suffer from a few technical errors which have still not been fixed even to this day, which is a sad point, because it's got so much potential, it really has. And I'm going to explain one of the things right now. I think this is going to be proof of the pudding for me, to show you this. Passengers stand there, they do not get on, they do not get off, they do not get on. That is what always happens in this game. Now, I don't know what's wrong with it. I mean, we can go over to the other side. There's a train just coming in over here, but the same thing happened. There's obviously passengers waiting here, but no one will get off, no one will get on. So it's like a bug that's actually in the game that they haven't bothered to fix even to this day. And this is one of the reasons why I was so glad that I held off on it, because I thought, well, if this is true from what I've heard in the rumours, then I'm not going to really want to spend the amount they were asking for this as a full price ticket. But the route itself, I think, is generally well made, considering only one person did it. I'm really impressed. I actually quite like the route. Yeah, the speeds are a little bit boring. I mean, you know, you don't really get much fun at the speeds. It is a typical kind of overground route, which, you know, that they do limit you on the speed limits and stuff. But realistically, it's not a bad route. I mean, it's very well, as you can see, the route itself is very nice. It's a very nice route. I do like it a lot. But it does lack on several things. There's no route hop marker, believe it or not, at Willesden Junction, so you can route hop onto the West Coast Main Line. Where is that route hop? There is no route hop at Stratford to get onto the South Eastern High Speed. Why not? You know? Now, I don't know whether it works just as like mainline kind of stations, like terminuses and stuff, but when you think of it, realistically, you should be able to route hop to something like Willesden Junction, so you can quickly nip onto whatever you need to hop onto. I think it would make sense, because then that way you can play it like a real game, right? Because you don't want to keep going out of the stations. It shouldn't just be built for like main lines. And I know Camden Road on this, as we saw, has got a route hop to St Pancras because it's the nearest to it, but you can also get to Stratford. We're going to Stratford, so why is there not a route hop to that station? You know, I feel like they have missed a few little things on this route, and little things like that. I know, and I know they're niggly little bits, and I always point these out. But let's talk about the pros, because it's not all about the bad things. I love these turbo stars that we're driving. I love them. I think they're really, really good. They're very similar to the 377s. They're very similar to that in the style that they run, the pace of them. It's pretty good. I do like that. Very good indeed. But I also like the fact that you can, if you've got the suffragette line, you can also bring them onto the line as well. The only thing is you don't see a good mix of them on the line, even though you can use them on this section of the line as an option. You don't actually see them on the line being used randomly and sporadically. It's all the same class, which I do find a little bit boring. The good thing you do see on this line, though, is freight traffic. Freight traffic is very good on this line, and I'll show you some of that now. You do see a lot of this, just like you did on the suffragette line. You see the same thing, it's the same principle, and you see it on this as well. But you do get nice long visions of all this freight traffic going through, which I think looks pretty good. It's a nice little touch to the game. I like it. It's good, and you can actually do some freight tasks, which is also very good. So you do get little things like that that are quite interesting and do become quite exceptional to the route. I do like it a lot. There are little touches like that. I think the details there are very well is there as well, and there are rumours, and I'm not quite sure. I say rumours, I mean it's been kind of confirmed, but whether it'll actually happen anytime soon is that they are extending it to Richmond, because when it came out, the one thing that people's main gripe was with it was, well, it don't go to Richmond. It goes to Wilston Junction. Don't go to Richmond. And I feel people felt like it was a half-baked route. And normally when you get a line, you don't normally just get half a line. You normally get the full line. It was kind of a weird place to sort of almost think, well, you know, why stop it at that route? But then are people going to be happy with this when it comes out that it goes to Richmond? Because obviously there's another branch line on this as well, which goes down to like Clapham Junction. Are people going to want that next? I mean, you've got to understand that if you're going to make a route, you normally get a full route. You don't normally get half a route, but you do, because you actually get some routes where they will stop at a certain station. And I think that's what people miss the point of, that this was a one-man band, okay? One man done this, okay? He was on his own and he created all this. Now, to be honest, those people moaned. But when you look at this, right, do you think that you could have done better? Do you honestly think you could have done this? Because I know I couldn't. There's a lot of detail in this. A lot of detail. And all those people that moaned, you know, you've got to ask yourself the question, could you do it? If you was given the tools, could you do it? What would you make better? And that's going to be the overall question, I think, is if you did do it and you had the power to do it, what would you make better? Because I'm quite happy with this route. I actually think it's quite a nice route. I don't think it's bad at all. I don't think it lacks anything. I don't think it really, apart from the passengers not doing what they're meant to do, like there's a problem with the passengers getting on and off trains, and maybe route hops are not as good as they could be. But generally, I think it's quite good. But I don't really know where people's problem is with it. That's my overall concern. I don't really know where people's concern is. That really does sort of mind melt me kind of thing, because there's up there is a train going across us. That is one of the other trains. That is the suffragette line going over us. So it's almost like we're meeting par with it, which I think is a really good. That's you know, that's part of the. Did I say suffragette line? Sorry, I meant that is the West Coast Main Line going across there. So, you know, to me it's like, oh, that's a nice little additional extra. But realistically, you know, you've got these little touches in it. I mean, let's just take, while we're at the station, let's just take a look around us. And look at all this build. You've got all these nice houses. You've got roads. Now, the roads do lack from car traffic, which, you know, a lot of the routes, they have traffic and stuff like that. A lot of this stuff is stationary. It doesn't move. It doesn't really do anything. So it is basic in that term. But just look along the skyline. Look, you can see Canary Wharf in the background. It's just those little touches that you can see that just gives it that little edge. And you think, well, they've actually put that in, you know? They didn't have to, but they did. And I think that is what you've got to be grateful for, is that even though you can't get to them, they're not quite as close as you want, Canary Wharf is in the game. It's in the distance. So I think we've got something to appreciate, that really it is kind of made quite well for a one-man show. You know, you've got all the lovely signs. You've got all the lovely signs down here. Things like this, you know. You've got some detail like this, all the signal markers and what they're called and stuff. I mean, it's a nice little route. But so many people overlook the fact that it was one person that did this. And I think the problem I have with that is that, yeah, okay, it's a one-man band, right? But could you do better? I think that's the only way I can answer this, is could you have done better? And I think, honestly, I don't think you could. I mean, I don't think I'd be able to create something so good. Now, I did say about moving traffic. There is a bit of it here. This is where you get it on the main roads that go under the station. So you do get it. It doesn't lack that. So it is there. You've just got to notice it. That's the only thing. It's a bit sporadic, though. Sometimes you do get roads and things ain't there. But I think if they fix some of these little minor issues, I think this would become quite a praised route. So I'm hoping when they release the Richmond extension onto this, we are going to get some little extras where people's going to actually think, oh, do you know what? They've fixed the traffic of the trains. They've actually fixed the people getting on and off the stations. people will be happy, right? People will be happy. And that's what I'm hoping they're going to do, like a full sweep of it, and actually they've got a chance to make this route a real great route. But the problem is, you will be all your attention will be focusing on the Richmond part of the route and not the bugs and the fixes that need to go in place. And as we know with Train Sim World, you'll get bugs in the game. Will they ever get fixed? Well, they do get fixed, but sometimes they don't get fixed enough, and then they end up and remain broken. And I think that's the problem. You know, a lot of the time, a lot of the bugs do get fixed, but there's silly little ones like, you know, passengers not getting on off stuff that don't get fixed, gets ignored. And I think that's what gives some routes some real bad tarnish. Personally, this route gets a hammering from people. People don't give this a fair hearing. This is, in my personal opinion, I think it is a very good route. Is it as good as the other overground route? It's not as solid. I'll be honest, it's not as solid, but it had more people working on it. So obviously, if you've got a team of people working on a route as opposed to one man, you could argue that, you know. And I know we keep going on about this one-man band business, but honestly, you know, you've got to appreciate what this person has done, you know, for one, like, being on his own. You know, this guy spent a lot of time and effort doing it on his own with no help, and people are like literally like slagging him off, because this, he's a bit, you know, I don't. You've got to accept some rolls with the punches. We all know what Train Sim World's like. We all know what it can be like. We all know what its flaws are. We all know exactly what it's like. We know what it's capable of, and we know that it can be, you know, a little bit temperamental at times. We all know that, and we always know, and we've always known it since a lot of us have probably been playing for years, and we always know there are a lot of issues with Train Sim World, right? And it happens. You do get issues with it, but quite honestly, I absolutely love this route. I think it's so underappreciated, and you've just got to notice little things. You look out for little things and you think, oh, that's quite good. You know, little tiny things that you can notice in the distance, in the background, things coming to view. Look at that, like the main roads. So there's Canary Wharf in its glory over there. Look at that. We're getting closer to it, but look how good it looks. You know, they didn't need to include that if they didn't want to, but they did. And those little things are just visually and aesthetically pleasing. And I'm willing to overlook the fact that no one gets on the trains or gets off them for the scenery alone. I will give my round of applause, you know. I'd love to see some of these people get on the trains. I would, but it's not going to happen. They don't do it, and I think to be honest, it does take a bit of the gameplay away. I know I've since we started this video, I know I've literally gone on about that quite a bit, but the problem I have with it, and I'll be absolutely 100% honest with you, is that when you're playing this, if passengers ain't getting on a train or getting off a train, you've got to ask yourself the question, why am I bothering? Why am I bothering even driving this train? I'm driving it for who? Nobody. You know? I could take this train and put it on a route where people, and correct me on a scenario, on a different route, where people would get on and off. Do you see what I'm saying? It's almost like, what is the point? And I feel people when they say, you know, that is an issue. Because it is an issue. You know? But then again, if you've got a train in real life, for instance, now this is a good way of twisting the story a little bit. Say you're a train driver in real life, right? And you wanted to, and you're doing a train, but no one got on your train, right? What are you going to do? Just give up and say, do you know what, I'm not going to take this to the end of the line. What's the point? You know? What would you do? You would have to do that service, right? So this is the point I'm trying to make. You've got to be able to do these things on the route. You've got to appreciate some of them as well. Now, little touches again that I'm going to show you. We've got all these lovely flags, and these are actually leading down to West Ham United's football ground, which is clearly visible there. So there you go. West Ham's football ground is in the game. There you go. Otherwise known as the, well, it was the Olympic Park originally, but you know, it's now West Ham's ground, and you know, I've actually walked along this to go to see a match, so it's quite nice. It's in it, it is, but realistically, it's fun. Now we have got a slight problem here. I think we've got a dilemma because up in front of us, we've actually got a freight train that's actually on our line. It is moving, but it's actually holding us up. So we're on a red at the moment because we're waiting for this annoying freight train, which is huge. I don't know if that's going our way. I don't think it is because there's a Docklands train over there. You will see that, but I don't. Wait, actually, I think it is going our way. Actually, no, it is because we're going over here and into Stratford. I think this is the right way. Yeah. So we are stuck here for a moment until that gets its gear. But you can see it's got everything in it you need. The route is made really well, and when you look at it from that point of view, it has got some visually, aesthetically pleasing things. So we'll take away the problems. You've really got quite a good solid route. So I'm really looking forward to the Richmond extension when it comes, because I think that is going to be something that we're all going to look forward to, and it'll become more of a bolder route as well. But I'm just concerned for how people's going to react to it, because I know that people can be a bit harsh, especially with small things on Train Sim World. It has become over the years a bit of a thing where people absolutely say anything to just get a rise. But hey yo, I actually love this route. I don't play it a lot, but I actually love playing it. When I do play it, I've quite enjoyed doing this route. It's been a while since I've done it, but it is, I'd say, one of those routes which is a bit time consuming because of the slow kind of aspect of it, where a lot of the limits are quite slow. Like you get a lot of 20s and 40s, and it's stop-start action. But if you're not prepared to play an overground route, it's overground, underground, whatever, is going to be stop and start. So yeah, I think you've got to take some of the punches as well as the rolls with this, I think. So but there we go. We've made it all the way to Stratford. We've shown you the route. This is another thing which I will point out. Like this is a tunnel, but it's just like a black box. Look at that. It's not even tunnel like. It's just the black into the darkness. It's just, you know, it don't look very nice. Things like that are things that you do notice on the route, which could be a little bit better. You know, I like this route, but there are things that I would change. Just like everyone has said over the time, you know, and they've always said, you know, it is a bit Marmite-y, this route. You either love it or you hate it. I think, to be honest, it's not bad for the one-person content on it. If you look in front of me, there's a Elizabeth line train coming in. Now, this is AI traffic, but it is a Lizzie line train. It is. And if you look over here, we're going to get a closer view, because I want you to see this. Look, you've also got a Docklands train coming in, which, yet again, is AI, but it's there. It's built in. Same with this. Look, the Elizabeth line. You know? So there are things built into this route, which is just a little bit different. You can get on one of these Lizzie line trains. You know, you can get on them. You can't drive them, but you can get on them. You can go off the map with them. You know, you can't get as far as, you know, as you want, but it's actually in the game, which I think is so good. There's just so much to see here. Beside me is a Great Wrangler train, which I think we're all hoping that one day we get that Great Wrangler route on the thing. But look, we've got a Great Wrangler train here, unbranded, but we have got it. You know, so you've got that. Then you've got the Lizzie line over here. Oh, there you go, which is actually branded, which is good. Freight traffic, random freight traffic coming in, going out. It is aesthetically pleasing. There is a lot going on in this route. Tell me what you think. Put it in the comments. Let me know. And that brings us to the end of this journey. We're going to be jumping off this train now at Stratford, and we're going to be joining the highest speed service at Stratford. as we're going to pick up a train there. We're going to jump on to the fastest train in the game, UK-wise that is, and we're going to take it all the way down to Ashford. Okay, join me next time for that. Keep liking, subscribing, and sharing the videos, and we'll see you again next time on Train Sim Heroes. Goodbye.